Welcome to the snapshot of Free to Focus, a total productivity system to achieve more by doing less by Michael Hyatt. Introduction. According to several studies, the average worker loses 3 hours per day in misspent time. There are many reasons why this fact is offensive, primarily that those 3 hours are probably spent doing boring, meaningless work that doesn't even need to be done by you. If only you knew how to delegate that work, automate it away, or simply eliminate it from your life. Fortunately, if you follow the advice in Free to Focus, you'll learn how to stop doing the things you hate and fill your active time with what you love and excel at. In that time, your increased engagement will help your productivity soar. In other words, you can get more things done more enjoyably in less time. Ultimately, your life is the sum total of what you decided to focus on, so you need to stop spending time focusing on drudgery. Take back the hours of your life and focus on what you're passionate about, even at your job. Free to Focus will teach you how to do that in 9 steps. 1. Formulate. Decide what you want. 2. Evaluate. Determine your course. 3. Rejuvenate. Re-energize your mind and body. 4. Eliminate. Flex your no muscle. 5. Automate. Remove yourself from the equation. 6. Delegate. Clone yourself, or better. 7. Consolidate. Plan your ideal week. 8. Designate. Prioritize your tasks. 9. Activate. Beat interruptions and distractions. Part 1. Stop. In the early 20th century, Frederick Taylor brought an engineering degree and knowledge of factories to the office environment. He theorized that office workers ought to function like the machines in the factories, reduce unnecessary movements, accomplish tasks with extreme precision, and cut down on inefficiency. No wonder people feel like they're working like factory machines. That's the point. This emphasis on efficiency has made human work so machine-like that it's ruining people's lives, leaving people to wonder how they could possibly get more done. But what if more is not the right thing to look for? Instead of trying to get more work done, you should aim to answer a better question. What is the most important thing to accomplish? Being productive doesn't mean getting more things done. It means getting the right things done. Formulate. To assess which tasks are important, don't let yourself fall into the trap of designing your life around your work. Take a step back and design your work around your life. Prioritize your time. If you only had a small number of hours, which tasks would become absolutely necessary to do? Evaluate. Every task you complete should be evaluated for 2 things: your passion for it and your proficiency in completing it. Analyzing along these lines leaves you with tasks falling into 4 different zones. Drudgery zone, low proficiency, low passion. Disinterest zone, high proficiency, low passion. Distraction zone, low proficiency, high passion. Desire zone, high proficiency, high passion. You want to spend as much time completing tasks in the desire zone as possible. But there is another zone to consider, the development zone. This is where you'd put tasks that aren't quite in the desire zone, but they could be with a little attention. For instance, this might be something that you feel you really love to do but just aren't good at yet. With a little practice, that task could move into the desire zone. Don't let yourself use the old excuses, I don't have time, I'm not that disciplined, etc. Those are limiting beliefs and can be better seen another way. I don't have time becomes, if I only want to accomplish what matters most, I have exactly enough time. I'm not that disciplined becomes, I don't need discipline because I'm doing what I'm passionate about. Rejuvenate. You and your smartphone have one thing in common: if you don't recharge, you'll die. Unfortunately, recharging yourself is not as simple as plugging into a wall for a while. But it doesn't have to be complicated either. Rejuvenating your energy consists of 7 things. 1. Sleep. The average American gets 20% less sleep than they think they do. This means that even people who think they're getting the mandated 8 hours per night are only getting around 7. Sleep is not negotiable. You can get more sleep by taking a nap during the day or by cutting down on sleep-disturbing habits such as using screens before bed. 2. Nutrition. It's pretty simple. Eat well, don't eat foods you can't pronounce, and stay away from excessive sugar. 3. Movement. Getting the benefits of exercise requires a lot less effort than people think. Even 20 minutes of aerobic exercise can have a huge effect. 4. Connection. What you do and how you do it are important, but so is who you do it with. People give you energy, just like food and exercise do. 5. Play. Studies have repeatedly shown that work done after a period of recreation tends to be much higher quality. Play makes you more creative, more focused, and a better problem solver. 6. Reflection. There are a lot of things hell-bent on distracting you, such as social media and the news, but it's crucial that you ignore these things long enough to allow yourself a period of introspection. If you don't give yourself any time to ask why, you might find yourself living a life you never intended to. 7. Disengaging. Even when you're not at work, you're probably thinking about it, and that means you're not really doing whatever you're doing. Let yourself genuinely stop thinking about work by turning off your phone and refusing to let emails and work calls interrupt your day. Part 2. Cut. Sometimes saying no can feel impossible. Maybe you don't want to make someone feel bad, or maybe you just hate conflict. But it gets easier when you remember what is at stake. You've just spent time evaluating what really matters in your life, and now you must honor that work. Stop letting yourself get sucked into doing things that you feel no passion for. Eliminate. You only get 168 hours in the week, and when an hour is gone, you don't get it back. Remember, in the end, your life will be defined by how you spend your time. If something is outside of your desire zone, don't automatically do it. It might still be a good decision to try it, but at least give yourself a moment to stop and ask if it's worthy of your time. Over time, giving yourself this little check-in will amount to a huge amount of time saved and obligation avoided. You've made a to-do list before. Now make a not-to-do list. Figure out the things you've been charged with completing in the past that you now know aren't worth your time. Write them down and be ruthless about avoiding them. Automate. Meaningless work can be done without you. Automation doesn't only refer to getting a robot to do your work. There are other ways to make sure those tasks get done without all your effort. A few kinds of automation are: 1. Self-automation. If you make a meaningless task into a ritual, say taking a shower in the morning, it becomes so habitual that you're not devoting your mental resources to it. Hammer down exactly how to do the task and when, and then stick to this routine until it gets into your bones. If your bones take care of it, your mind gets to focus on other things. 2. Template automation. Chances are every time you approach a task you've done a million times before, like writing an email, you still do it as if you're trying to reinvent the wheel. This is because you haven't created a template for yourself. Once you identify that a given task isn't going away, design the best way to complete it that you can repeat every time. This will drastically reduce the amount of time it takes to get the job done. 3. Tech automation. Sometimes it's actually possible to get a robot to do your job. There's nothing wrong with embracing technology such as email filtering software. Delegate. Once you've done away with tasks that can either be eliminated or completed by a machine, you must face the list of remaining tasks that really do have to be done by somebody. But this is where you need to gather all your courage and ask yourself, does it have to be done by me? The answer is probably no, a lot more than you think. You might think you can't delegate tasks because they can't be trusted to anyone else. This is false. You may have failed to get the right person to do it or given insufficient instruction, but delegation is an art, and art must be repeated and rehearsed before you get it right, and the payoff, time, is invaluable. The best way to delegate is to find someone who enjoys doing what you hate. Is there anyone you can find who thinks the things in your drudgery zone are in their desire zone? Make their dream come true. Make their job consist of all the things they love and you hate. Things in your disinterest zone might require a new hire. For example, you might hire an accountant even though you know how to manage your own money. Do the same thing with tasks in your disinterest zone. It costs money, but it saves you hours of your life. You might be a little attached to things in your distraction zone. You're passionate about them after all, but the crucial thing is to examine how passionate you are. Are they worth the time sink? Part 3. Act. When you think you're multitasking, you're really wasting time. The truth is that the mind can't focus on two things at once. It can only give its attention to one thing and then switch rapidly to something else. But when you switch quickly, a part of your attention is left behind on the old thing. This lost attention is called attention residue, and this happens to everyone. But it's crucial to cut down on it. After a long time, little expenses of attention add up. Consolidate. One way to stop yourself from falling into the multitasking trap is to batch your activities. Take tasks that are alike in some way and tackle them all at once. It's like doing a group of things that all have the same theme, and that means the same part of your mind is engaged the whole time. You can do this in increments of hours or even days. Perhaps you give yourself 1 hour in the day to manage emails, Slack, and Facebook. Or you can decide that 1 day is devoted to a single large project. The key is to let your mind focus on one type of thing for an extended amount of time to decrease attention residue. With this in mind, plan your week before it starts. Make sure it's made up of blocks connected by themes. If you can see your week on paper consisting of things that you're passionate about and good at, you're truly free to focus. Designate. Designing your schedule is a skill you're going to need to get better at over time. It's called learning how to designate. If an air traffic controller tells all planes over an airport to land at once, that air traffic controller is about to have the saddest day of his life. Similarly, if you try to get everything done at once, you're going to have, if not the saddest day of your life, certainly an unhappy one. The best way to get better at designating is to examine your previous work. At the end of the week, before you make your next schedule, get out your old one and evaluate it. What were your major accomplishments? Too often, people focus on their shortcomings. Let yourself revel in your achievements. Then look at what you could have done better. What tasks did you not finish? What did you do that, in retrospect, you see could have been automated, delegated, or eliminated? As you learn from your past mistakes and successes, making your schedule will become second nature, and then you can implement another key tool, the Big Three. Put simply, you need to decide each day what your top 3 most important goals are and make sure they get done. Once you've mastered designating, all those planes will land safely. Activate. You've done a lot of work. You've pared down your tasks to the essentials, and most of your work relates to something you're passionate about. You've got a good plan in front of you. Great. But this work won't mean anything if you don't know how to execute. And one of the biggest things standing in your way of buckling down and getting your work done is distraction. There are limitless ways to become distracted or interrupted. Other people, texts, phone notifications, and so on. You can isolate yourself from those distractions, and you should, but creating a boundary won't do all the work. The brain is so tempted to turn from uphill tasks to downhill ones that it will be very hard not to log on to Facebook for at least a moment. What you can do is make the uphill work more fun. For example, create your own environment, play the right music, clean up your workspace, and make being at work feel painless and maybe even fun. This will be the fuel that keeps you running uphill, so you won't be so tempted to turn around. Conclusion. Your life is not infinitely long. When you see someone spending dozens of hours a week doing something they have no passion for, do you wonder if they understand their time is finite? Do they think they're going to live forever? It's not easy to keep the constraints of time in mind, but this is exactly why you need to work so hard to remind yourself that you won't be here forever. Every second you have is precious. This means that when you try to get better at your work, you shouldn't just try to get more done. You must get the right things done as quickly as possible and get back to living the life you want. If you do it correctly, the tasks you complete at work can actually be fun. This system is designed to make sure the way you spend your time is as good as it deserves to be. Ultimately, how you spend your time is what defines your life. Have a good one. Start now. About Michael Hyatt. Michael Hyatt is the author of the New York Times best-selling book, Platform, Get Noticed in a Noisy World, and the Wall Street Journal bestsellers Living Forward and Your Best Year Ever. Hyatt served as the CEO of publishing company Thomas Nelson before focusing on writing and coaching on the topics of leadership, planning, and productivity. He has been a blogger since 2014 and host of the This Is Your Life podcast since 2011.
Thank you for listening to our quick learning audiobook review series. If you liked what you heard, then check out our channel for more free audiobook reviews. We post new audiobooks every week. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell to be first to hear of our latest reviews.